Hi everybody, this is Nikki Jameson and I'm here with another video which is a play around in Corel Painter 2023, and I'm going to be making some brush marks and just playing around with some brushes in some of my brush packs. So as I've said, if you've watched any of my previous videos, this is simply an experimental play around with making marks, and the reason I'm doing this in this video is I'm just trying to go through some of my many brush packs, because over the years as I've collected brushes, I've maybe used a couple and then not returned to them, or I've done courses and bought brushes, bought brush packs, stuck to 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 brushes and never gone back to my other brush packs, with the result that I have a load of brushes and I just want to know what they are, what they do. So I thought this would be an excellent way to discover the brush packs that are actually in Corel, as opposed to the many brushes that I've bought. So the reason that I'm doing it that way is because if I talk about the brushes that I've bought, if you happen to get Corel or Corel Painter or Corel Painter Essentials, you see me using these brushes, you won't be able to get them unless you actually get them from where I got them from. You can buy brushes from Corel Painter, but you may not get the same one. So I'm just going to try and do the I'm just going to try and look at some of the brushes in the Corel brush packs, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually use the Scrumbles, because I thought that the Scrumble brushes, I haven't really used them at all, but they are excellent for making backgrounds. They're one of the many brushes that you can make backgrounds with, and this is quite a nice way to play around with things that Corel can do, so or the brushes can do. So first of all, I should probably not start with a brush that is more a blender. I'm going to start with the Blocky Scramble, and I'm going to start with a different color, and I'm really just going to play around with putting down paint. Let me reset this. I'm going to make this brush a little bit bigger, and I'm going to play around with just put some color. Now you might let's make it a little bit too big actually. You might see that it's picking up, depending on the size I make the brush, it picks up. You can see this pattern in the brush. I'm literally just going to put down some color and just play around with it, and you'll see what I'm going to do in a little bit. I don't have any particular goal. It's an experiment. So what it's doing here is it's actually interacting. These Scrumble brushes interact with the grain. That might not be a good green. With the grain of the paper. So I've got a paper here, and I've actually increased the scale quite a bit. So that's what's happening, is the brush is, or was, picking up the paper scale. So if I increase the scale here, you'll see there's a difference there. I'm going to just press Alt so I can pick up other color. Alt with and then tap with my pen. I'm using a Wacom tablet and my art pen, and I'm just going to, that is a bit too small, that brush. I have a canvas paper, which you can see here. I'm going to reduce the scale a wee bit. It's a bit big, the angle. And you can see the brush. These brushes are very sensitive to grain. So I'm just really, let's just put down these harmonizing colors, and I put this on a layer here. And using layers in Corel is a really good idea, because it gives you a lot of flexibility. In case you just don't like what you've done, you can change it without having to scrap the whole painting. Okay, so we've got this there. Let's see. I'm just going to stick with this paper just for simplicity's sake, and then I'm going to look for something that is more a blendy thing. So I'm going to go to this Brushy Scrumble. Let's see what this will do. So let's reset it first, and the reset is 100. If I bring down the reset, if it's 100, it's going to actually put down paint. If I bring the resaturation down to 0, it's going to blend. Actually, I'll make this a little bit bigger. And this is actually pulling the paint and blending it. And this is so meditative and relaxing. Okay. So if I take the reset up, it will actually put down paint, which if you want to create any, I don't know, if you want to create an area of interest like that, a very abstract-y thing, you know, that's a really good way to do it. And you can change the paper. I've got some favorite papers here. I've got some really dramatic papers that I like using for this kind of thing. Where have I got to with them? They're called dramatic papers, actually. Let's try that one. Yeah, and they produce some really interesting, shall we say, effects. So if I Alt, as I say, I can put this on another. I can put this on another layer if I want, just to just if I don't want to you know, risk it. Okay, so actually let's open another layer. So I put a layer on top of that. That actually is fairly okay. And what I could do, actually, what I probably would do, stay on that layer. In fact, I can move on to the top layer. I could actually go back to my which one was it now? Blocky Scramble, or even my big oily Scrumble. Let's see. Yeah, actually the big oily Scrumble actually kind of removes paint. It blends in a different way. Actually, let's go on that one, see what happens. It will kind of remove it. I don't really want it to remove it, but just to see what this is, just to show you what it can do if you have paint there. So I'm going to go back on there. I'm going to go back to my brush, the Blocky Scramble. Put the paint back in. Maybe add a few bits of paint here, and that we've got the reset on 40. If I pull the reset down, it will start blending again. Let's add a little bit of paint here, so you can get some really nice abstract backgrounds without too much worrying about whether it's good. Just let the brushes do what they will, and it's a really good way to practice. So I only used 2 brushes there, and what I would do is I could keep building layers, changing the papers, you know, adding some interest. This is really just serendipitous that I am doing here. And just remember that if you want to add paint, the reset needs to be up. Okay, so I think I might leave that there. Oh, I like that. I can't like that. Maybe this is going to be one of my screensaver abstracts. You just never know what's going to come out of these things. This is why it's so good to experiment and explore. Leave this here, and I will see you in the next vid. Thanks for watching.